Hello everyone, welcome to another weekly update, and yeah, really busy week this week because mostly, and I'll dive straight into the first thing I want to cover off. Tuesday and Wednesday this week, so Monday was a bank holiday first of all, so it was a public holiday in the UK. Didn't mean stuff didn't happen, it did, it just meant I didn't go to work. I instead on Tuesday and Wednesday, I went to Belgium, to Brussels, in fact, and to the European, not European, but the E-Communications Day, held in Laverne, which is about 20 kilometres outside of Brussels. It is where Stella Artois comes from. So I had the chance to sample some Stella Artois as it comes straight out of the factory, and you know what, it tastes exactly the same as Stella Artois anywhere else. But anyway, that's not the reason I was there. I was there for the E-Communications Day, which was a fantastic one-day conference. There were two tracks. There was a Skype for Business track and a Office 365 track. And I spoke about the bot framework and bots, and a little bit about the Trusted Application API as well. And there were lots of other excellent speakers, a group of MVPs, but not all the speakers were MVPs. There were some really great sponsors as well. It was all in all, it was a fantastic event at a great location. So really pleased I went. Thanks Johan, thanks Michael, thanks Wim, thanks everybody else I'm sure I've forgotten who went into organising the event, but it was it was really good. The great news for you, if you didn't go, was that the recordings are all still available. It was all recorded using Skype broadcast meeting as well, and those links are now available, so I'll put the links in the show notes, both for my session but all the other sessions as well. Absolutely worth a look. There was stuff in there. I'm just going to quickly scroll down the list actually, because just looking at the Skype Business track for a minute, because I haven't even looked at the Office 365 track. That's something I need to look at over the weekend, because I only really got a chance to go to the Skype for Business sessions. But starting off with fellow MVP and colleague Tom Arbuthnot talking about Skype for Business Cloud PBX in the real world. So that was really interesting to get some intro into kind of that, and some good examples, some customer stuff, and some good live demo stuff going on as well. And then, like I say, I spoke about the bot framework. There was some good live demos in there as well, actually, if you want to see that. And then Steve Van Houten talked about troubleshooting packet loss, and is it really the network? Then Starley Hansen spoke about call quality in Skype for Business, and specifically the call quality dashboard. And not all of these are specific to Skype for Business development, but it's really useful to get a good rounding on some of the things you may have touched on in development. Certainly for me, it was really good to get a good rounding on some of those topics that you end up, I think, if you're doing sort of Skype for Business development, you end up with weird sort of spiky knowledge. You know, it's not rounded out deep knowledge. It's almost like peaks and troughs of things you know and things you don't know. So it's always good to go to those sessions and round out your knowledge. And then finally, Johan Delemon spoke about the secrets of media flows, and that's a really good in-depth session, all about media flows. So yeah, super useful. So like I say, the links to all of those are available. They're Skype for Business broadcast meetings, so you can watch them kind of at your leisure. So absolutely, you should go and do that this weekend, because it's a great resource of information there. Alright, so what else happened whilst I was away? Well, there's Office, so Microsoft Build is coming up really soon. It's coming up next week. It is May 10th through 12th, I think. So there's going to be lots going on from the Microsoft Office space, especially for developers. There's almost certainly going to be announcements. There'll be announcements throughout the Office stack, I think, so I would imagine that, you know, also relates to Skype for Business and Teams as well. The great news is that a number of the breakout sessions are going to be recorded and posted on Channel 9, which is really good. It looks like there's a bunch of pre-recorded videos that they've made as well that are all going to be launched on May 10th. So that's interesting. Yeah, so that's definitely worth checking out, as these events, you know, they're often places where announcements are made, so it's worth keeping your ears, and, you know, you're just being aware of what's going on and just keeping up with the news around these events for things that come out. That's certainly what I'm going to be doing, and just keeping an eye on the blogs and stuff for new announcements coming out. So if you're not going to that, then yeah, it's good to just keep an eye on Channel 9 and just see what's going on. In other news, so Microsoft Graph, the previous unified API, the kind of one API to rule them all across the Office 365 stack. So the Graph Explorer has just been updated. It's easier to use. It's a UI refresh in terms of how you use the Explorer to get stuff done. It's kind of nice that they've split it into like a navigation panel down the left-hand side with all the different queries, and then yeah, kind of request response stuff in the middle. The other thing they've done is released a bunch of samples with it, which is really good. So that's kind of a nice idea, just for getting up and running and just seeing kind of what's possible and what you can do. You can literally kind of toggle these sample categories on and off, and then get a list of things that you can try out. So that's definitely worth checking out if you've never used Microsoft Graph before. It's a great way. It's like a big API for access to all the data and all the metadata around Office 365. So that's super useful. And then the other thing I want to call out is a blog post that Tom Arbuthnot did. Just it's less developer stuff, but it's more just so you're aware it's happening. And if you have applications that kind of play in this space, then you'd want to know about this stuff. But there's a new web join experience for Skype for Business. So web join experience is if you are joining a Skype for Business meeting but you don't have the Skype for Business client, then you join that meeting via a web page, either one where you sign in or whether you join as a guest. Now, the way this has been added to with this update is a new MSI that you get prompted to run instead. So it's yeah, you get prompted to download an app, which is an MSI that then installs, and it looks really nice actually when it launches. It's a kind of almost like a really cut down version of the Skype Business client to let you participate in the meeting. So I think it's a UWP app under the hood. That's kind of what it looks like, but I haven't dug into it enough yet. That's certainly what it seems to be. But yeah, it's nice to see kind of additional experiences being added. Nice to see Microsoft focusing on the user experience, not just for those people that have the Skype Business client, but those who don't as well. That kind of B2C experience. So it's not just about people joining that don't have the client, you know, because they're on a home machine or they're somewhere else. You know, it's, if you imagine businesses talking to customers, there's no reason why you can't meet customers using Skype for Business meetings, and not all of those customers will have Skype for Business. So it's good to see Microsoft recognising that and focusing in on really good first-party experiences for WebJoin. So that's all good and interesting and fun. So I'm sure next week will be overshadowed by a ton of build news, but that's pretty much everything for this week. Kind of a quiet week, I think. Does feel like everyone's holding their breath for build, everyone holding back on the big announcements. So enjoy your weekend. Like I say, definitely worth catching up on some of those talks from the conference in Belgium earlier this week. But other than that, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week.